Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
A live look from our Mount Clemens sky cam, where we can see some dark clouds that have been moving through Metro Detroit as storms have popped up these past few hours here. Thanks for being here for the News at 6. I'm Kimberly Gill.
And I'm Damon Fernandez in for Devin tonight. Now, those pop-up storms brought high winds and heavy rain to some parts of our area, but not all. Brian Sherman is in for Kim Adams tonight, and he's tracking it all for us. Hey there, Brian.
Hey there, Damon and Kimberly. Good evening, everyone. Let's get right to it. Exact Track 4D radar still keeping an eye on portions of Wayne County and southern Macomb County. That's right on the county line there for a strong thunderstorm capable of producing winds to 40 miles an hour, heavy rainfall and lightning from East Point down toward Harper Woods, just outside of the Grosse Pointe communities, moving off to the east at about 15 to 20 miles an hour. So putting a track on this one here, moving it right along the Wayne and Macomb County line. Again, Harper Woods right now, and within minutes, the northern end of the Grosse Pointe Woods communities. Outside of this, we've been keeping an eye on some of the wind and even some damage reports now coming in from portions of Macomb County. We've got a 47-mile-an-hour wind gust right around St. Clair Shores just before 5 o'clock. Also, a few thunderstorms just to the north of Port Huron as well. So while some of us stay dry today, some of us are going to need that umbrella over the next 3 to 4 hours. Here's that look at Tower Cam again in Mount Clemens. Cloud cover with most everybody into the 80s. It's warm and humid. I'll talk more about the storm chances for today and tomorrow and when some relief heads our way. The details in your full forewarned forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, so get this. A widespread spoofing scam is costing many local credit union customers some big money.
As the credit union works to warn customers, a number of police investigations are getting underway working to track down the scammers. Consumer investigator Hank Winchester is talking with new victims tonight. Hank, this sounds very concerning.
Yeah, it is. It is a growing problem. You know, it all starts with a phone call that appears to be from your bank or your financial institution. You may get asked to enter your PIN number. But once you do, big problems ahead.
This is a printout of all the transactions that I have made through Michigan First.
Ruth Phelps looks over her bank statements daily. She knows exactly what she spends and where she spends her money. That's why some recent suspicious charges caught her attention right away.
Each day I go through my bank statement that appears on my phone, and I just happen to see some transactions that I did not make.
She noticed withdrawals and charges on several days, and we're talking about big money, thousands of dollars. She says she never gave out her password or her PIN number, but she recently did receive communication from someone she believed to represent her credit union, Michigan First Credit Union.
When I called the credit union, they told me that I had given somebody my code. I did not give anybody my code, but they went to an ATM machine, took out $1,000.
What's happening here? Good old-fashioned spoofing. Someone calls from a number that appears to be the bank. It's not. If you provide information, it's going to a scammer.
They said, you know, we know some suspicious activity going on in your account. You know, we want to go over, you know, some transactions and see if they were you or somebody else.
Chevelle Price lost big money after someone she thought was a bank representative asked her to enter her PIN number over the phone. That one move allowed the scammers to move on into her account. And here's some important information to keep you and your money safe. Never share your personal information over the phone. Do not enter a PIN number. Don't give anyone your Social Security number or your bank routing number. Also, if you get a phone call and it looks like it's from your bank, but that call gets a little suspicious, hang up, call the bank or the financial institution back yourself. Find out what's really going on. And of course, if something does seem suspicious, make sure you alert your bank and also the police so an investigation can get underway. We're live here tonight. Hank Winchester, help me, Hank. Yeah. Back to you.
Okay, Hank, thank you.
Well, some good Samaritans rushed into Lake St. Clair to rescue a woman after she drove her car straight into the water. Well, Sky 4 was overhead at Lakefront Park in St. Clair Shores minutes after first responders arrived. Right now, we're not sure what caused the woman to drive over 100 feet into the water. What we do know is that one man and his neighbor, a 15-year-old boy, didn't think twice before jumping in to save her.
He was just sitting in the living room, heard a loud sound and seeing the corner of the window, car going, fly into the water. Walked out there and seen a lady, somebody in the car, so quickly jumped in and We noticed she was struggling to get out and she wasn't coherent, and we got her to climb out the window and pulled her out, just swam her to shore, and that was it.
Well, those heroes told us they didn't want to appear on camera, but without their help, who knows if that woman would have survived. We're told thanks to their selfless act, she's expected to be okay.
Right now, to a feel-good update to a story we brought you a little over a week ago. The butter cow mascot at the Michigan State Fair, a dog named Marge, was stolen out of her owner's front yard. Victor Williams showed us that disturbing video of the dog being dragged away by a passerby. Yesterday, we got the update that after a week, Marge and her family have been reunited. Victor is back with reaction from one elated dog owner.
Well, this is the little girl that everyone had been looking for quite some time. Marge, or Margie as some might call her, is finally back. And as you guys can imagine, her owner is so happy that she is.
She's back! She's healthy and she's happy and she's just Marge, now the infamous Marge. We're just happy to have her home, you know? This is where she belongs.
Kat Delph couldn't have asked for a happier ending after her worst nightmare played out over a week on Detroit's west side. Her beloved dog stolen right out the front yard while I was only using the bathroom.
I was so stunned to see her because I'd been getting all these false leads, and I appreciate everybody tried to help, but you know, you get all those false leads and it gets a little disheartening after a while.
Surveillance video shows two men walking up and taking the gentle pity away. After waiting days, Kat was starting to think that Marge was gone forever.
My head was starting to go to that point where it's like, it's not going to be good. She was gone a week and 5 hours.
But in a very dark time, her ray of light was a complete stranger who lives a few blocks over.
She was 2 blocks the other side of the freeway. I don't know if they dumped her over there. He said he found her and he took her home.
The stranger taking such good care of Margie that he was already tending to the doggy's eye that needed some special attention, something that was once a real concern for Kat during the search.
And the guy says, I find her and kids are afraid of her. He says, but I bring her in and I feed her and I fix her eye. I wash her eye every day. He didn't have to do it, you know. He didn't have to, but he did the right thing.
And Kat says that Marge will be staying in a whole lot more. We're just so glad to see the two of them back together. Victor Williams, Local 4.
A happy ending. Okay. Victor, thank you. Many people who live along Woodward Avenue in Royal Oak or Birmingham will tell you the Dream Cruise weekend is their favorite time to get out of town because all of the noise and traffic from that big of an event.
Well, right now in Paris, France, the same thing appears to be happening on a much larger scale. With just 3 days left before the Summer Olympics, many of the locals have decided to get away or perhaps cash in by turning their homes into Airbnbs.
Devin Scillian is live in Paris, where getting around must be pretty easy, I guess, for visitors. Devin.
Easier than we expected, that's for sure, KG and Demanya. I think the Dream Cruise comparison is pretty apt, yes. You know, when cities win the Olympics, they think, good heavens, we're going to have so many people come to town. Well, that's what they say every summer in Paris. So against that, a lot of folks have decided it's a pretty good time to bug out, and many of those who've stayed have gotten a little frustrated.
It's a little jarring at first. In Olympic City, you assume you'll be waiting for a table at a restaurant, waiting for a taxi, and packed to the gills on public transportation. That is not quite the story so far in Paris. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a ghost town. I mean, not exactly.
Problem with hosting the games is they bring massive crowds, all kinds of congestion. You can barely find room to turn around. Well, actually, depending on where you are right now in Paris, you might find yourself wondering, where is everybody?
Famously, the French take off the month of August. This year, some employers told their workers, go ahead and take July too. And it shows. If you don't have a ticket for an event, if you're not coming for the Olympics, then it's a good time to be somewhere else. A Parisian on the metro made his feelings pretty clear to me.
Every street is locked, you understand? We can move.
Yeah.
But it's a problem.
A lot of frustration.
Yes, a lot of frustration, yeah, but
yes. Yeah. Paris is a prison, he said. Well, my colleague Nick Monticelli once played Inspector Javert in a high school production of Les Mis, so he's as close to an expert on French prisons as I can find.
The tourism is down. Yeah. They were anticipating a big boom, and he said it was down at least 15%.
You see it in the residents who need passes to get to their own homes. You see it in the cab drivers trying to negotiate their way through a seemingly endless array of checkpoints. And you hear it in shops and businesses where the expected windfall from Olympic tourists has yet to materialize. Nick and I met Fred Derry, who owns a not very busy drugstore.
Since they practically kicked out all the Parisians out of the city, scaring them, telling them it's going to be hard to travel, hard to take the metro, the buses.
Now, we have also talked to a number of folks, though, who are pretty darn excited. I talked to a young 18-year-old Parisian tonight who kind of got into the lottery for tickets and ended up with basketball tickets. And this country is basketball mad, especially with Victor Wembanyama playing for the French team this year. So we expect, because ticket sales have been very robust, we expect the stands will be pretty full. And the first test of that will actually come tomorrow. Opening ceremony Friday, but the games get underway tomorrow, and it includes Rugby Sevens, and coming up tonight at 11, a Michigander playing on that American side who is so excited for his Olympic debut. We'll see you then. Devin Skillian in Paris, Local 4.
I'm sure the streets will look a lot different as the days go on. Devin, before you go, I'm just curious, what's the temperature like? I see you in long sleeves, but you appear to maybe be layered. So did you just put that on since it's, what, midnight, after midnight now?
This is actually, yeah, it is after midnight, but this is actually the coolest day that I think we're going to see. It was only in the mid to upper 70s today. Tonight in the lower 70s. So I thought this is my chance to wear a long sleeve shirt. We'll see how we do as we go forward.
Love it. Okay, we can't wait to talk to you again. We appreciate it, Devin. And here's Nick again with a look at what he's working on for tomorrow morning.
Good evening. On tomorrow's morning show, we're going to look at some, I guess you could call them fun facts from Paris, the cities that have hosted the Olympics 3 times or more, some of the medal numbers, the number of Olympians returning to Team USA, and we'll talk about why the Parisians are not so happy with the games thus far.